So good morning, all of you. So we are discussing about casting operations. Initially, we discussed about sand casting. Then we moved on to other casting operations. And in yesterday's class, we discussed about shell casting. In today's class, we will discuss a new type of casting operation, that is investment casting. Yes. So you can see here, you can see an image, you can see a statue here. Actually, this statue is made using this investment casting technique. Yes. So now we will see what is this operation, how is it carried out, what are the various characteristics of this casting operation. So the first and foremost thing I want to tell you about this operation is it's an expendable mold casting process. That is, after the casting is solidified, we will break the mold and take out the casting. The mold is destroyed. So this is an expendable mold casting process. And similarly, yesterday's class, I told you there are two types of casting, expendable mold and permanent mold. Based on the type of pattern also, we can classify the process as expendable pattern and permanent pattern. If the pattern is used only once, it is getting damaged, it is called as expendable pattern. If the pattern is not damaged, and it can be used again and again for making more and more castings, the same pattern used for making more and more castings again and again, that is called as permanent pattern. So to which category does this investment casting operation belongs? We will see at the end of this lecture to what category this investment casting operation belongs to. Then this is also known as lost wax process. What is the reason? The reason we will discuss in the last, after the discussion about investment casting is over, we will discuss that also. One more thing I want to discuss after this class is why this technique is called as investment casting. So three things, actually four things. The first one is why it is called as expendable mold casting. Second is why expendable pattern. Then why lost wax process? It is called as lost wax process. And the last is why the name investment casting. We will discuss all these things at the end of this lecture. The most important thing you have to listen, you have to understand in this investment casting is the pattern is made of wax. So initially, when we were discussing about the basics of this casting operation, I discussed about wax, using the advantages and disadvantages of using wax. So we will see all those things in detail. So I'm going directly into this casting operations. So we'll discuss the different steps. So the first step is we have to make a wax pattern. So initially we should have a metal mold. So here you can see the metal mold. Yes, I think that is clear. Yes, this is the metal mold. So this is the metal mold. We have the metal mold, and into this metal mold, we are pouring wax. Then what happens is as the liquid wax enters the mold cavity, and after some time it will solidify, the wax casting is formed. The wax casting is formed. Now this wax casting we use as our pattern for the investment casting process. This wax pattern is our pattern that we use for this investment casting process. The next step is once the wax patterns are ready, what we will do is we will arrange these patterns, several patterns. So here you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patterns. So we will get 6 casting from this particular operation, and it is arranged like a tree. It is just arranged like a tree, and this is a sprue. So this whole thing is made of wax. You have to understand that this whole thing shown here in blue color, the whole thing, this is called as the pattern tree. And this whole thing, these are the wax patterns, and this is the central sprue. All these things here are made up of wax. Yes. Next, we will see what is next. So this is our pattern tree. That is, we are attaching these wax patterns to a wax sprue. So this is the pattern tree. Now after this, what we do is we will dip this pattern tree into a slurry of refractory material. You can see here. So this in this figure, this refractory material is orange in color. So initially the wax was blue in color. So once we dip it in this slurry and bake it out, it is full of this refractory material slurry. It is covering this. It forms a coating of slurry around this pattern tree. I think that is clear from the figure. It is very much clear. So after this, what happens is